Is it recording? I think it is,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
All right. So number 3 for homework 7 was pretty simple. It's to write a C function that computes the first 30 terms of the Fibonacci series, store the computed terms in an array, build another function that displays the array. The definition of the Fibonacci series is as follows: f0 equals 0, f1 equals 1, fi equals fi minus 2 plus fi minus 1. The main function calls the first function to compute the Fibonacci number and then displays them using the second function. Essentially, what it's asking for, have a function called Fibonacci or whatever you want to call it that does the Fibonacci series, and you have the main function like call that Fibonacci function and it's going to work it out. So I guess a brief little overview of the Fibonacci numbers if you didn't understand. So Fibonacci was some like mathematician who created some series of numbers, right? And it starts at 1 and 0. And then you're going to add those two numbers to get 1. Then you're going to add the previous two numbers, 1 and 1 to get 2. You're going to add 1 and 2 to get 3, 2 and 3 to get 5, 3 and 5 to get 8, and yeah. So the core principle is you take the last two numbers to get the next number, and it's the same throughout. So yeah. And then apparently it's used for like some really crazy things, which I don't have time to get into. But yeah. So you're gonna have void because you're not really returning anything. You're just doing the for loop. All right. So you're gonna have void fib. The fib is obviously gonna stand for Fibonacci. Then int f open brackets, right? And then it's good. It's open brackets because in the main you're gonna tell it like how many times you want it to work. Then int I, and what's it called? You have to start it at I equal to 2 because f0 is 0 and f1 is 1. And if you start at 0, it's not going to work the way you wanted it to. So that's why I have to have f0 and f1 outside the for loop. Then you're going to have a for loop. As I said, you start as 2 because that's the second term, or at least, or when I is equal to 2, that's when the Fibonacci formula starts really working. And then it's going to be less than 30 because they wanted it 30 terms, and then I plus plus to make sure that it increments and goes to the next one. So this right here is just the basic formula for the Fibonacci. So it's essentially f of I, the current number, is equal to the last two numbers that came before it. So fi minus 2 and fi minus 1. And the whole point of that was to do Fibonacci. And then you also want to display it. And then you could do it differently. Like you could probably do display in the int or have the display in the Fibonacci thing. But me personally, I like to keep them separate. So that's why I did display avoid display. So avoid display int f open brackets like this one because you're gonna take it from the main. Then in int I, a for loop starting from I equals 0 to I is less than 30, and you're gonna print f percent d is equal to percent d. So pretty much the whatever term it is of the Fibonacci series, that's the number. And this one, you don't start at 2 because all you're doing is just printing the display. And we already have f0 and f1. So yeah, that's why you don't have to start at 2. Then int main, int f30, because you wanted 30 terms. And then fib is, is calling this one. Then you're going to have f, and f was 30. So essentially it says f30 is going into f for fib, and fib is going to scan it and says there's an integer of 30. Then it's going to work out the whole series. And then the same thing with the display. It's f. Then the display is going to see that as 30 of them, and it's going to display it and then return 0. So I'll compile it and then execute it. So yeah, it starts at 0, 0, 1 is 1, 1, 1 is 2, 1, 2 is 3, 2, 3 is 5, 3, 5 is 8, and so on up to F29. It's not F30 because we started with F0. That's why. So it's 30 terms. If F30 was there, then we would have 31 terms. So that's just something to keep in mind. Any questions?
Yeah, I feel like shouldn't this technically not work because of what he
What
said
do you
in
mean?
class? Because when you're giving fib the array, you're creating a local like value of that array or a local array. So you're only changing the value of f in fib, and then when you leave fib, it deletes. Like technically, shouldn't that be a pointer to f in the main?
Yeah, you can say that. You can try that, but for here in this one, it actually did work without the pointer.
Can you just put
Yeah.
the asterisk in fib
Next to
and
which
see if it
one?
works? In the topic, yeah.
Topic here.
No, in the next to f, left side of f.
Here.
You should put it. I get yeah, but it should be for all of them. I think.
All right.
I mean,
Thanks
like
for
in
calling
fib.
that out.
In
All
fib.
right.
I'm not sure if it works. I'm not 100% certain of how pointers work yet.
All right. Let me.
You
Yeah.
got to put it next to all of them.
All right. We can try that and see if it works.
If it doesn't, I'm not sure because I don't really.
All right. I guess it works, but there's a few like warnings, like passing argument one to fib. But yeah, we can try it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure how this stuff works yet.
yeah, but for now, at least for this one, you don't have to use the pointer. You know, I feel like you guys didn't understand the Fibonacci series that well, so I have a PowerPoint ready for this.
Well, that's nice of you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to ask you actually if you had a PowerPoint of this because I was struggling to understand. You know. Oh my.
So yeah, the Fibonacci sequence, or else send a joke here. All right.